Hi, and welcome back to That's Entertainment, the weekly entertainment show where we look at all the interesting entertainment news from last week, this week. Kicking off, tomorrow we've got a fascinating webinar, Finding Winning Titles in Today's Global Media Landscape. We'll be running it at 10 a.m. Pacific Time or 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It'll be a US-centric webinar, but with global appeal, because we're going to be looking at these incredible trends of foreign content and how Netflix has been making a great success out of buying foreign productions. Hope to see you there. Please do register on our site on groovy.tv/webinar. You'll see the link there, and we do hope you can come and join us. Summer has arrived in the US. The Memorial Day holiday weekend saw moviegoers return in force. A Quiet Place Part 2 took over $57 million over 4 days, despite not all US cinemas having reopened yet and restrictions on audience sizes. To give that number some context, the original A Quiet Place opened on a $50 million weekend 3 years ago. While the sequel was expected to have a bigger debut, Variety pointed out that what makes A Quiet Place Part 2's results particularly notable is that they are roughly in line with what the movie was projected to make prior to the pandemic. Or as Deadline put it, that's a number which isn't too far from the $60 million which the John Krasinski-directed sequel was anticipated to do in a 3-day opening pre-pandemic. Paramount domestic distribution head Chris Anson eloquently summed up the film's theatrical appeal. How many times in their lifetime have movie theaters been threatened? People weren't looking to be locked up in their homes forever, and this weekend was the most our country has been open in quite some time. We had a movie that is quintessential in being a communal experience in a theater, and the audiences responded. Paramount will also be pleased to see how well the film did at those more expensive upmarket cinemas last weekend. IMAX screens and premium large format or PLF auditoria accounted for well over 20% of the total box office. And IMAX alone accounted for over $4 million of ticket sales, giving the premium cinema-going format its biggest weekend since January 2020. The studio has already announced that Quiet Place Part 2 will debut on Paramount Plus streaming services just 45 days after its theatrical release, and so it'll be interesting to see if there are any significant impact on how well it holds up at the box office over the remaining 6 weekends until then. My feeling is it won't make the slightest bit of difference, and this film will do well. It's certainly something that director John Krasinski and his wife and leading lady Emily Blunt will be keeping an eye on. According to a report in Bloomberg, the couple are in a dispute with the studio as they apparently believe the shortened theatrical window could affect the film's ultimate box office tally, which would in turn reduce the amount they would be ultimately paid by Paramount for their work on the film. However, Naveen Chopra, the chief financial officer at Paramount, reinforced the studio's commitment to that shorter theatrical window and that the Paramount Plus streaming when they recently told investors, "We are seeing some compelling evidence based on the research that we do that the customers are ready to come back to theaters. But the fact is the model is changing and they are also consuming content through a streaming service. Given what's happening in streaming, that shorter theatrical window is likely here to stay." The number 2 movie at the box office was Disney's Cruella, which took a respectable $21.3 million over the opening 4 days. But as Deadline pointed out, the good news for domestic exhibitors is that audiences are choosing to watch the movie in theaters. But like Godzilla vs. Kong, what Cruella indicates is that if it wasn't a Disney Plus premiere at $29, it could have made more money, at least here in the US. However, Disney are a studio that seemed prepared to sacrifice box office revenue in order to bring films to their streaming platform much faster than would be possible pre-COVID. Disney have already announced that they will be releasing Marvel's Black Widow simultaneously in cinemas and as a $30 home premiere Disney Plus exclusive in July. And Bob Chapek told JP Morgan's 49th annual Global Technology Media and Communications Conference the company made the right call. One of the things we learned is that flexibility is good. We're really celebrating that flexibility and we're really trying to offer consumers more choice. We couldn't put all our eggs in the theatrical exhibition basket because we knew that in the weeks leading up to that decision, the domestic market was not coming back, and it's still fairly weak. So we're confident that we made the right call here. But Chapek went on to offer exhibitors more support, reconfirming that Marvel's next movie, Shang-Chi, and the Ryan Reynolds action comedy Free Guy are both currently at least set for exclusive theatrical release with a 45-day window. This is later in the summer than we hoped. We're not sure that the theatrical marketplace will recover fully, and that type of distribution makes sense. At some point, you have to step off the dock and onto the boat, and we'll see how it goes. It seems Chapek is correct to still have faith in all things Marvel. The Eternals is a little-known 1970s comic book series that will be following Shang-Chi on the big screen in November. The first teaser trailer for the film was released last week and generated an incredible 77 million global views over its first 24 hours. That's the highest number of views for a Marvel trailer during the pandemic. In a quick roundup of other news, another factor that might have helped Americans choose last weekend to return to the cinema, the fact that AMC, Cinemark, and Regal Cinemas all went back on an earlier decision and allowed fully vaccinated audience members to not have to wear face masks. Korean audiences may still have to keep their faces covered, but cinemas have come up with perhaps a greater incentive to get them back, according to a report in Variety. Multiplex operators in South Korea have begun to offer significantly reduced cinema tickets to moviegoers who are vaccinated against COVID-19. The campaign will run for a month until the end of June. Patrons who can show that they received at least one shot of the vaccine will be offered a discount on regular 2D films and may reduce the cost of a ticket by more than half in some venues. Ironically, at the same time, Disney have announced plans to seemingly move away from the simultaneous theatrical and streaming releases. Universal have made the decision to do exactly that. The animated sequel, The Boss Baby Family Business, will be available from the 17th of September in cinemas and on the $4.99 and $9.99 premium tiers of their SVOD platform Peacock. Chinese conglomerate Wanda, who previously had a controlling stake in AMC Theatres, recently chose to all but cash out its remaining stake in the exhibitor. After the $426 million deal, Wanda has just 10,000 shares in the company. Subsequently, shares in AMC have more than doubled in value, with more than 3 million individual investors, many Reddit and Robinhood traders, now owning the majority of the stock. Well, that's interesting. AMC's CEO Adam Aron said that during the recent conference call, they own AMC. We work for them. I work for them. And Deadline reported, Wall Street analysts who tried to correlate stock price with a company's fundamental business purpose were left in the dust. B. Riley Securities on Wednesday downgraded AMC to neutral from a buy on valuation as the stock blew past its $16 price target. One wonders if the impact of Wanda leaving the investment had something to do with that choice. This week's details of another AMC deal emerged according to The Hollywood Reporter. On June 1st, 2021, AMC's Entertainment Holdings issued a Mudrick Capital Management 8.5 million shares of the company's Class A common stock for $230 million. The exhibition firm said it in a regulatory filing on Tuesday. The company intends to use the proceeds from the share sale primarily for the pursuit of value-creating acquisitions of theatre assets and leases, as well as investments to enhance the consumer appeal of its theatres. Warner Media CEO Jason Kilar announced to his staff that he plans to remain in the role for another year, despite recent speculation that he was looking to depart following the news about the company's upcoming merger with Discovery. It was also revealed that the Friends reunion, which was finally broadcast on HBO Max in the US more than a year after it was originally announced, was watched by 29% of streaming households on its first day of release last week. That made the relatively cheap production almost as big a hit on the streamer as the Christmas Day debut of Wonder Woman 1984. Meanwhile, according to the latest figures unveiled by digital TV research Simon Murray, global ad-funded streaming services are set to see their combined production budget increase by 144% over the next 5 years, reaching an astonishing $66 million by 2025. According to Murray, revenues will triple in India and the US. US AVOD revenues will triple between 2020 and 2026 to $31 billion. Rather than lose market share as other countries catch up, the US will grow its share of the global total from 37% in 2020 to 47% in 2026. That's all for this week. Check out our webinar tomorrow night. Hope to see you there. Feel free to like and subscribe. Remember, we post this show both to YouTube and to LinkedIn. Have a great week, guys. Goodbye.